Welcome to Millennial Money Minute. I'm your host, Chen. Thank you for tuning in to our financial wellness show where we get you financially fit 1 minute at a time. And it's not just for millennials, it is for everybody. And I am so excited today for our guest, Shaun Taylor Duvall. Shaun, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And let me tell you a little bit about Shaun Taylor Duvall. He actually started his own business at the age of 13, and he is the COO and co-founder of PS Strategic Communications, and is currently getting his PhD in media psychology. Now, what were you doing at the age of 13, Shaun?
Well, I think everything that you could at 13. So it became babysitting, mowing lawns. There was no paper route. It kind of was gone, right?
Right.
So I kind of just did that. I'd go door by door, say, hey, I noticed that your grass needs to be mowed. I'll do it for $5. The other guy's doing it for $45 a month. So every Saturday morning I would get up and take my lawnmower on my little wagon, and I would go and mow all these people's lawns for $5.
Wow.
Then it turned into, hey, can you babysit? How old are you? And they said, sure, I can babysit.
As long as you're good with babies, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't
I'm
matter
excellent with
how
babies.
old you were.
And then it turned into, well, I want to go to the beach. And it costs money to go to the beach from my house, so I'd take the bus, and I was like, I should be a lifeguard. So I did junior lifeguards, got sponsored by a lifeguard because I really wanted to do it. Hey, here, you're a junior lifeguard. So I'd monitor this little tiny spot of the beach, just sit there and hang out, occasionally go in the water, and that was about it. And then it just turned into, okay, now I was going to school and you can get a working permit. So then I was like, great, what else can I do? Well, I'll go get a job here, I'll do this. I did sports. Then I was like, oh, sports. How can I make a little money on the side doing sports? Well, I'll teach kids how to play basketball, play football, play baseball for a really small fee on the school campus, right? On a Sunday or a Saturday. Wow. So it literally, I was born, I always say, I was born to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, millennials are serial entrepreneurs, I have to say. Now, Shaun, tell us, were you taught to be an entrepreneur? Did your mom tell you, well, you have to go get a side hustle now?
Well,
or did you just come up with this?
Well, my mother is Korean, so
Okay.
It's kind of that traditional, you better be a doctor or a lawyer. Those are your only two options, kid.
Right? I know how that feels, yes.
So I said, no, I don't want to be any of those things. I want to be a professional athlete. I want to be a movie star. I just named everything else but those two things.
Okay.
So, but my father was a business owner. And I same thing, I didn't want the traditional baby boomer, traditionalist generation job where you have to go clock in. I really didn't see the value of having a lot of employees at that time. So I was just like, nah. But then as I got older, I realized, wait a minute, the money is in entrepreneurship. And with the internet, I could have my own business with just myself. I could wear the hats of all these employees and do it by myself all hours of the night. And all my friends thought the same exact thing. With the internet, you can literally be your entire company. So that's kind of what started. But then again, with more clients equals more time, so you do need to add another person. So I do have a business partner, another co-founder, Dr. Carrie Perry, and
Right.
she is the baby boomer of my company. So it just kind of balances out. So I kind of learned from her as well. She was in education for a long time, which if you can teach education, you can teach companies how to do something right.
Right. Yeah, talking about social media and the internet, I know a lot of millennials now, they like to work in co-working spaces. I'm old-fashioned. I still like my little office. Otherwise, if I have a whole bunch of people around me, I'll just start talking to them. I'll look at what they're wearing. Do you think, how do you feel about co-working spaces? Can you be productive?
Definitely you can. With headphones nowadays, they're all sound canceling. You might even get inspiration by working with them, but I think it's a cost as well. These co-working tech-based buildings, they're such a low cost, and you still get that fancy professional work environment. So when you do have a client that comes in, it's really nice to say, oh, come to this conference room and we sit here. Even though there's a bullpen full of a bunch of entrepreneurial little businesses,
Right.
it still has that professional feel to it. You know,
Right.
I'm a part of a member of a group called Center Club.
Okay.
And it's kind of the same thing. It's like a networking, but they also have these little rooms where I do my business in because I have a home office. So by using an outside place, it looks really professional, but also gets me out of the house, out of that traditional, stuck, boring colored walls, cubicles with
That's
people that you
true.
work with. So I think co-working is really great.
And you can collaborate with other
Exactly.
businesses, right? You may find a business sitting right next to you that you
It
can
does very
collaborate
similar
with.
something. Or
Has it ever happened to you?
It has. Because everyone, you know, you could do social media, but there's a really narrow niche of what social media that you can do. So somebody might be really good at creating the hashtags and following them. Someone might be really good at marketing on social media, like on stories, like Facebook Live and Instagram Live, and you know they know how to utilize the time zones for that. Someone might be better at selling products versus a service. Someone might be better at showing you how to be popular. Right. You know, so it's so many small things. So every time someone asks me, Shaun, why are you in social media? It's way too abundant. There's a million people in social media.
Right.
I said, you're right. There is a million, and it doesn't. You know, I hope everyone out there, it doesn't discourage you. So you should do it, and you know, show people why you are different. Because there's somebody that can be better, but you need to be different at it. So the same thing, get really niche, right? And you go and kind of go, I'm good at selling a service on social media,
Right.
versus the product and vice versa.
Right. Now with social media, if you have a niche, you still get clients because there's millions of people.
You can get multi-million, and it's global.
Absolutely.
You know, you can have global clients. And with time zones with the internet, it's really simple to, conversate with them. You leave a message on this, you do this, you text, you still do email, you still do all of that. And you can totally have a fully customer in Japan. I have a customer in the Philippines.
Wow.
So
you
it's
never
really
would have
easy.
thought about that before.
Right,
you know,
before it
without
would
the
be,
internet,
yeah,
it's
mailing,
basically a 10-mile radius, 20-mile radius.
Yeah, you have Dropbox, you have all these free servers. I mean, I actually pay for your servers because you want your content to be safe. You know, so you pay for your Dropbox, you pay for that, right?
Okay, right.
You pay for it. Just spend a couple dollars for it. It's well worth it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I use, a Dropbox basically. You go on the email, you drop off what you need, and everything's secure, and you can just run a company globally.
Wow. Okay. Now that we talk about making money, what do you do with the money that you make? I mean, how do you save? Because I've spoken with millennials and they're all about living in the now. They don't think about the future. They want the experience. They want to go to another country. They want to dine out and fine dining, take a picture of the food, put it on Instagram and show off. How do millennials save?
Well, it's really funny because there's two different views. One is millennials great at saving, bad at investing. One is millennials don't know how to save. And these are articles that you read all the time when you Google millennial money management.
Okay.
So my friends and I, what we do, we don't save as much as we should because we are going to work forever. And we're going to probably have side hustles that will help us have, freedom eventually. That, the traditional IRA, they would just kind of look at it so you get back, 2%? And yeah, compounding interest is good, but I don't want to look at that. I don't need a financial advisor. I'll do it on my own. I'll just wing it. I'll just rent an apartment so I don't really have any home expenses. Or, I'll just live with my parents for a little while longer and save some more money. So we're all about saving money, but yeah, we're spending it as quick. Some of us are. I want to go to Europe. So it's either put the $5,000 in your savings account or live a good experience and document it while you go.
What's more important for you? Saving it or document the experience?
50-50. 50-50.
50-50. Okay, there we go.
50-50, because you do want to be a little bit financially responsible just in case, but there's no way I'm going to save $100,000 in the bank.
Right.
Right? I'm going to spend it or do something else with it.
That's true. Open up another business, maybe?
Yeah, so that's another thing too. You always get told, make your career mistakes when you're young. I always get told, I wish I would have started my own business, but here I am at, they're a senior partner somewhere, and they're like, I should have done my own business when I was young. Take your time, take your money, spend it, and do it. Do it when you're young. You can make all the mistakes you can. So that's kind of what we do, right? I started a business.
Okay.
I still work at a corporate office to fund my business, and then eventually I won't have to work at the corporate office anymore.
That's smart. That's actually very smart because you don't want to just jump in with both feet sometimes and open up your own business and then, not have enough money to fund it.
Well, some people can. They're okay with doing that. I'm a little bit more conservative, I think, with my money, so that's why I'm definitely keeping another job.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Now, I know you mentioned to me before you invest in cryptocurrency. First of all, what is the difference between cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? Is it the same thing?
It's basically the same thing. So cryptocurrency is a digital currency, where it has tokens and coins that are used for different applications, whereas in Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer money exchange, but you can also use it now on Newegg, a lot Overstock.com accepts Bitcoin. You know, a lot of places you can buy a home with Bitcoin. Somebody bought a house somewhere with Bitcoin. It's used a lot more in Asia. I think, you know, it's 65% of people that use cryptocurrency for actual transactions are usually in Asia and stuff like that. But I invested in it because I saw it as it's a high risk for sure. It's definitely a high risk. You can lose a lot of your money in it, or you can really gain a lot of your money. So I invested it last June when it was still kind of low and under $3,000 for one Bitcoin. And it, at the highest, went to 19,000.
Wow.
So December, it was 19,000. So there's a way that you can kind of, you know, it's called tethering your money into USD or whatever your fiat money is. So you can actually, you know, change it out. You can withdraw the money if you want to. So it's actual real money, but it's all digital.
Now, in terms of digital, I know maybe many of our viewers don't know, is there an exchange rate? I mean, what if you're exchanging with someone in another country? Or is it?
So Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, it's all whatever that price is at the time. So if I were to send you you wanted $200 US, and I send it to you in Bitcoin, be 0.00 whatever the conversion rate is. Actually, Google can tell you exactly what the rate is, how it can, with every dollar that you have, either it's, you know, a yen, it's a pound, or it's, you know, whatever currency that you use. But it's a way that you get away from the bank. The bank takes your money and they don't give you a lot for it. Whereas cryptocurrency, you can put a little bit of money and get a lot of money out of it. And there's no bank, right? There's all these ways to get your money out without even touching it, putting it in your bank account.
Wow.
So it's kind of, you know, if you think about it, it says like 67% of the global population, or somewhere that number is very loose, they all want to get away from traditional banking. They want a better way of digital banking. Because eventually we're all just going to scan our smartwatch on something and pay for your Starbucks coffee or whatever it is. It's coming.
That's true.
You'll be able to check in your hotel room just scanning your phone. You know, Apple Pay, you have, you know, all these other types of things. So why not digital currency?
Now, you say there is a risk. How much can you lose your entire savings?
You could. So you do definitely need to have some sort of know-it-all and kind of do a little research before you dive into it. Because there is no, what do I do now? Whereas a bank, they're insured. So when something happens to something happens to your money, someone steals your money or hacks your money, like on your credit card, you know, the bank just gives you your money back and then they're insured. Well, there's nothing like that in cryptocurrency. You have to, you know, it's something called a hard wallet or a cold wallet. You really have to do your research and get the things that you need so you don't get it stolen. That's a lot of, you know, hackers can hack it. But there's no insurance on it.
No insurance on it.
So the idea is just be really smart about it, you know, really learn before you invest. Start small and then eventually, you know, you can do whatever you want. But I know people that do it full time now and they made $10 million. 22 years old. There's a young man, he plays video games all day. Because he invested in cryptocurrency at its infancy in 2009. And he was young.
It increased. Increased. Now, speaking of insure, now you know how when a bank, you have different banks, right?
Correct.
You can put $250,000 in one bank and you're maxed out on the insurance, then you can put it in another bank. So each bank has its own insurance. You can have $10 million and put it in all these banks. They're all insured. Is there such a thing with cryptocurrency, or is it just one cloud-based investment?
It's kind of a cloud-based. So there's a lot of coins. I think there's like 4,000 tokens and coins that you can invest your money in. Each of them do a different thing. Your three main coins would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. So Bitcoin you can actually use to pay for goods and services. Ethereum is a coin that's used for transferring loans and stuff like that. And then Litecoin, it's the backup of Bitcoin. Then you have coins that are for crowdfunding. So let's say I had a project that I was really passionate about and I wanted to fund my money through it and I knew it was going to make money. Well, I'd be maybe crowdfunding with cryptocurrency. Someone gives you whatever the dollar amount is and you promise them so many coins in exchange for letting you get the money up front. So it's another way that you can do that. And I know a lot of charities are starting to accept Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as well, because they know, why not? This is another form of money that they can get for a charity to gain money, for investing.
Okay. All right. Great. Now that we're done with investing, what about investing in homes? Or I know a lot of millennials now, they're minimalists, which means they can live in 200 square feet home or live in an RV. Now, how do you invest in your first home? Do you sacrifice? Let's just say, I know the housing prices are really inflated right now. It's very hard to come up with, the 20% down that's needed. Do millennials now sacrifice the location for a cheaper home that they can buy right now, or do they wait until they save up enough money for the prime location? What do you do?
What do I do?
Yes.
Well, I bought my mom's home. So my mom was in real estate. Okay. And when the whole crisis went down and the market just tanked, the house value went really, really low. So then I just bought the home for my mother. So that way it wasn't too much of a loss, and then it's still mine, so she's still, it's still in the family. So right. I kind of got really lucky in that sense. But I have friends of mine that they'll live in a little, maybe it's not as safe neighborhood, right, because they know eventually that neighborhood will turn into something else. Because that's what's happening right now, gentrification, and unfortunately it's this, everyone's moving to wherever they can move to.
Right.
So now you have young families next to a lady that's been somewhere for 100 years or something like that, right? Like in Chicago, you see that happening. Now at the south side of the tracks, people are moving in there. Brand new condos are being built. Right here in California, Southern California, we have Santa Ana. Now these $500,000 townhouses are being built, when the house down the street is $450,000.
That's true.
So it just kind of depends. A lot of my friends, they rather rent because it's within the budget. They don't make a lot of money, so the down payment's really hard to get. And everyone keeps saying in the news, oh, interest rates are going up. No one's gonna be able to afford the interest rate. Oh, the market crash. The market's gonna crash again eventually. Right. So we don't want to do that again and lose your investment if you don't have a lot of money. You got to pay your student loans back. You have other things. You have to travel. So you might as well just get an apartment. Yeah, get an apartment that there's a landlord. So if something breaks, you don't have to pay for it, right? The landlord comes and fixes it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, renting is good. And with this Airbnb, when you travel, you don't need much. You don't need to stay in a 5-star hotel.
And when you're traveling, you Airbnb your apartment out.
Actually, you know what? That's a great idea. I never thought about that.
So if you live by Disneyland, a friend of mine lives by Disneyland. It was one of the best places she could get. It's an apartment, 2-bedroom. Okay. She pays $2,100 a month for it. And so when she travels all summer, she's a teacher, so when she travels for the whole summer, she rents it out all summer long, and the whole summer pays for about the whole year of her renting.
Wow.
Talk about being an entrepreneur.
That is
Talk about taking what you already have and making some money on it.
Making some money, absolutely.
Right? So yeah, Airbnb, I mean, look at Uber, Lyft. You use your own vehicle. How many of us now use Uber and Lyft? We don't call it for taxi anymore. How smart was that? I have friends of mine that do Uber and Lyft on the weekends only, and they make enough money to pay their rent.
I met a millennial the other day. All he has is a bicycle. Mm-hmm. And he told me, he goes, oh yeah, my bicycle, I can use my bicycle for my business. And I'm thinking to myself, well, newspaper boys are out. I mean, what do you do on your bicycle? He says, well, I deliver Uber Eats. And it's amazing how you can just ride a bicycle, going around and just make a living delivering Uber Eats or whatever delivery service.
You have Postmates, you have Amazon, right? You have they subcontract out to other couriers. I mean, you can just do whatever you want. I get Amazon packages from a young kid in a giant moving truck.
Oh, wow.
He's like, so I rent the moving truck for the month and I go and deliver Amazon packages on the weekends and during the week. That's his business.
I find that millennials are very creative. They will think of ways to make money.
I think the tagline for millennials is work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
when it kind of has a negative connotation to it, but if you think about it, that's what the computer came from. Work smarter, not harder. The computer does a lot of the calculations for accountants, right?
Right.
That's what its job is to do. So if you can find a way to make money with less work and you make the ROI is so big, why not do it?
Absolutely.
Why not be a Postmates or Uber Eats driver?
That's
or
true.
I mean, come on, your bicycle, if you live in a big city, you can do 10 deliveries in one afternoon.
And you have flexible hours.
You have flexible hours. And that's another thing I want to talk about is a lot of my friends, we want to work when we want to work. We don't want to go in from 8:30 to 5 o'clock. We don't work best at those hours. Right?
Yeah, you can work best at midnight on your computer.
That's right. And you can get better productivity with that.
That's
but
true.
A lot of corporations, they don't want to do that. But eventually, millennials are going to be the largest population working. And eventually, they're going to start changing. A lot of work from home programs are happening.
Yes.
Right? Work from home, then as long as you promise the 8.5 hours or whatever your hours are, it doesn't matter what time you go on the computer.
That's true, that's true. Now, do you think a lot of millennials, because of the high rising cost of healthcare, do you think a lot of millennials are missing out on the traditional, of course, medical insurance when you work for a corporation? I mean, how do millennials handle medical costs?
Well, I think that's a really good question. Because a lot of companies, you may not work enough hours to get those benefits, such as 401k, medical, dental, all of those things. Now that you can change the limit of how many hours that you make to get those things. So a few of my friends are kind of on whatever state assistance, or they just go into a clinic and they pay a lot of money when they're sick. They're really not looking to get health. Healthcare is very expensive.
Absolutely.
Especially for a family of 4. And you're making $45,000 a year, and the wife or the dad or someone, whoever is staying at home. Because daycare is $1,200 for a child, depending on where you go. So it's cheaper to have your spouse stay at home with your kids. So how do you afford healthcare? I don't know.
Right.
Again, that's why I work for a corporate company, because I get healthcare. I work full time, so I make sure I get healthcare. I get 401k. I kind of get these traditional things that a lot of other small companies can't. My company on the side, my business, we don't have medical insurance. We're small. Right now. So
but once you get big, you can hire the big masses, right? And give them health insurance.
And because I think of being really social responsible for people and my employees and stuff, I would want to make sure that they can have the option of getting health care. You can't make it mandatory as your employee, you have to take it medical. But I'd like to make it a cost effective enough where they can have it. That kind of segues me into social responsibility. A lot of young entrepreneurs, we care about where products come from. We want to make sure that our product is sustainable, it's animal cruelty free, it's all of these things, and we want to support other companies that are like that. A friend of mine was talking about, what are the malls going to do? All the malls in America, what are they going to do?
The dying malls, right?
Right. What are they going to do with them? Because now you have everything online, everything is delivered to you. Right, you don't need to go to Sears anymore. It's almost going back into a time when Sears were a catalog. JCPenney was a catalog company. Where you would buy something on the catalog and they would deliver it to your home. It's very similar. Now we're doing it right now. Amazon, Walmart, Target, 2-day shipping. You get the desk or bed or crackers or snacks in an hour on some of these places.
But let me ask you, as a millennial, do you think sometimes it's important to touch the products you buy? I have to try on my clothes because sometimes I wear a size 2. Sometimes I wear a size 4, and sometimes I'll wear a size 6, depending on the designer. I mean, what do you do with that? Do you just
buy all the sizes and then you return them? Right? Okay. If you use your credit card, you have 30 days, right? So you buy every size that you need, and then you just go to the store and return them, and the money goes right back in your credit card in 3-4 days, depending on what bank you have.
Okay. So you have no problem with that?
No.
Millennials. Okay.
And I think even, not that I'm paid by Amazon, but Amazon even has a little tiny device that it kind of takes a picture of your whole body. And you can call it Amazon Wardrobe, and you can literally put clothes and it'll tell you if it's going to fit you the best way possible. Wow. And that's the future. You're literally going to stand and get scanned in the 3D, 4D, and then they're going to put clothes on you, and then you can just order the clothes that way.
Wow.
The Jetsons.
The Jetsons. I have to learn from the Jetsons. Now, I know you're getting a PhD, Shaun. However, I've spoken with millennials, some of my clients. They kind of, because of it's so easy to make money with social media and the internet, you really don't need a college education. What do you tell the millennials nowadays that just don't want to go to college? They say, I can make money without going to college. I could start at the age of 16. What do you say to that?
Don't go if you don't want to. It's an investment.
It's an investment. Okay.
Just like any other investment. I'm choosing to invest in it. There's more that I want to do. So I would say, did you decide maybe there's a trade school you want to go to? Just make sure you're an expert in some field, so that even if you don't go to college, maybe you started as a bank teller and now you're doing investments. That's knowledge in itself. You don't need a college degree for that. Working your way up. So there's stuff like that you can also do.
Hands-on training.
That's right.
Okay. Well, with that, Shaun, thank you so much for being my guest. We got some great information, and I'm sure our viewers got some great information from you as well. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Chen. Thank you for joining us at Millennial Money Minute. We'll see you next time. Thank you.